Oh, wonderful people of the internet. Good morning. So, second time I've had to do this damn video. But it's story time. That's what I'm doing now. I'm doing story time. I'm just figuring, just different ways where I can just add in information. And people ask me questions all the damn time. And sometimes I can't, answer them at length. So I figured this is kind of a good time to answer questions, at length, and to just tell you, more in detail about certain things that you guys may have seen that you want to know more about, that you didn't get information about. I've had something from anything you've seen in the Hulk life, or anything you've seen us post, or anything you've seen in our other show. So anything like that. That's basically, what, Kobe, if you knock my camera, you're going to get yourself in trouble. So, okay. Anyway, sorry. We got Kobe around, and he's nosy. He's very nosy right now. But any questions, anything like that, I just want to make this a segment where, I talk about things more in detail. So that's more what this is. We're going to call it story time. And the first story that I got for you guys today is something that nobody knew about aside from the people that were here, and directly involved in the company, and more or less just people that were here. It just wasn't even something that we really talked about a lot, because it was very hard to go through, and it was just at a very hard time in life also. So, but contrary to the internet, first of all, Hulk is alive and well. Everything is fine. Okay? Every time one of my dogs passes, it's always like everybody thinks that it's Hulk. I understand, obviously, he's like, the main guy. That's everybody hears dog or anything around here, and they attach it to him. But I guess, when you're famous, you're just dying all the time. It's just like the way that it goes. You have fake deaths all the time. But he's not dead. Everything's fine. Don't worry. He's laying down right behind the camera. Kobe's finally laid down on the ground. He was rolling around for a little while, but I think he's decided that the way I looked at him, he might get himself in trouble, that he's just going to lay down and smell that direction right now. So that's what he's doing. But I want to tell you about a time that he actually almost did die. And it was a very scary month for us. So, yeah, I'll just get right into it. So, and I'm going to try to just stay out of other things in detail that, might be a little bit too emotional, because I don't want to get too emotional, especially when I'm telling this story. If the emotions are attached to the story, then I'll let them happen. But in this case, obviously everybody that has watched me knows that I have not spoke much about anything that's happened with, mostly Ace or, my bodyguard. These things are just really close and hard for me to talk about, so I don't really like to talk about them. But I have to attach part of this to this story because it's part of it. So, Hulk got really, lethargic. And he was, really down. And he wasn't eating that much. He was eating, but he wasn't eating that much. He was drinking water. Everything else kind of seemed a bit normal, but he just was a bit, just slow, sluggish. And it was right about 2 days after everything happened with Ace. So I thought that, he honestly might be just, depressed from everything that has happened. Sometimes it's hard for people to understand, but these dogs are all family. We're all family, so they're all connected very tightly. So when things happen amongst them, it really does have, a chain effect throughout the whole pack. They all feel it. They all act funny. So, it's definitely reality, whether or not it's a fact or whatever, Listen, I've been dealing with these dogs damn near 20 years, and from everything I've seen with my own eyes, these dogs are so much more intelligent than anybody ever gives them credit for. They understand more than we give them credit for. But anyways, that's a whole nother story in itself. So, Hulk was just very lethargic, and, a couple days went on, and he started throwing up. So he started vomiting, and that's when I was like, all right, something is really strange. And the amount that he was vomiting, massive piles of vomit, and they were all in my office on the couch, and different, because obviously he lives in here. So, about a day, I'm like, all right, we'll see if a day, let him go a day, see. And then he did the same thing the next day. So right away, took him right into the vet, got all the tests run, blood tests. And fortunately, in this case, it really didn't take us very long to diagnose that he had 2 tick diseases, which we were a bit confused about because he's on tick preventative, but at the same time, we live in like one of the most notorious places like for ticks ever. You see our land, you see the property, it's just like woods and grass and fields, and there is like such a tick over infestation around here. It's crazy. They're pretty much like the only thing that kills the moose is the ticks, and there's like dead moose everywhere because there's so many ticks. It's crazy. So we found out that he had 2 tick diseases. One was called Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever, and the other one was called ehrlichiosis. And so we got him the medication that he was, needed for it. And the thing about it is, the really hard part, and I didn't really know how hard it was going to be in the beginning, was the medication actually makes him want to vomit. And the sickness makes them vomit. So you have 2, already wants to vomit, and then you have something that's going to make him want to vomit more. So it's like already this uphill battle that you got to climb. So he got anti-nausea medication as well, but we had to change them around because as the story goes on, you'll be able to find out it's not the most simple, administration of the medication. And, I'll kind of put it along lines of, like, obviously it's none of the vet's fault. I just think there's, like, a lot of different kind of ways and applications, honestly. And the same way we train, the same philosophy. All dogs are different. Their bodies are different. The way they're going to intake things is different. So he just really wasn't taking to it in the beginning. And basically, I would give him the anti-nausea, follow the instructions, give him... I forget what, I think it's Doxy or something. So I would give him that, and he would literally have to take like 8 of them. All right, and something else about that is it cannot be chewed. If they actually chew it and it starts to go down their throat, it can damage the esophagus. Okay, so they cannot chew it. It has to be swallowed. So I would give it to him, and he would throw it up. Like a little while, like a couple hours would go by, and he would throw it up, and I'd see all the medication like on the ground. So obviously, how is he gonna get better if all the medication that's supposed to get him better he's throwing up? So you can see the problem that we have here. And I was following directions exactly how you were supposed to. So I just decided. Well, actually, let me tell you this part of the story too. And in the beginning, we were giving him his medication with cheese, and we were also in touch with like 3 or 4 different specialists. At the same time, because me, like, I trust people, but I don't trust one opinion. So it's like we try to talk to a whole bunch of different people. Aside from the vet that obviously he was going to, we talked to a whole bunch of, the specialists in the area, because, we obviously had plans. If things got to this, then we were going to, right away we had other things that we had to do. Because I had already found out in the beginning, if he wasn't taking to this, then, kind of like, one of our kind of final efforts that we could try was he could go and get it administered through an IV, basically. And we had to drive like 3-hour drive, which is no problem. 3 hours, $500 a day, 30 days. That's pretty much what it was supposed to be. And we found out about that, luckily within about the first week. So I had that as like a backup. So we had to kind of try to balance this out. The best that we could. So early on, it was just a struggle trying to figure it out. And, finally, like, I adjusted a couple things, probably after, it took me about, a couple days, and I adjusted everything, and I got it so he wasn't throwing up anymore, and he was holding his food down, which was like, oh my God, I can't even tell you the relief that came off me, because, like, during this time, obviously, like, I was reading about this, reading about the disease, and finding out, like, obviously, both, not just one was deadly, like, both of them were deadly. So, it was, it was just a time when, like, I just couldn't even fathom what the world was, like, attempting to do to me. Like, I didn't get it, like, why was this happening? What was actually happening? And, obviously, normally I'm pretty upfront with you guys. Not pretty, I'm, like, fully upfront with you guys, and I tell you everything. That's why I'm obviously telling you this story now. But at the time, it just was so much going on with the situation with Ace and, everything that was happening just in my life on a personal level. It was just very heavy, and I just wasn't ready to, like, even release this news. Which at the time, it wasn't news. He just was sick. So it just, didn't want to, you know, I believe a lot in energy. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to like put that negative energy on him, you know, as nothing was happening. You know what I mean? So I believed, you know, I believed in my heart. I felt in my heart that, you know, he was going to pull through. But your mind will play a lot of these tricks on you, you know, going through it. And it was just a really hard process, you know, seeing my dog go from, you know, 180 pounds to, you know, even when we first brought him in. Like, you don't understand how quickly a dog can lose weight when they're not actually eating properly. So, I mean, he got down to like 130 something pounds. Like, I mean, it was terrifying to see him, you know, in this condition. You know, so, but it took us about 2 weeks, and about 2 weeks, everything balanced out. And then he started on an uphill trend where I could get him to eat other things. But during that time, like, I mean, he literally, like, he wouldn't eat steak, he wouldn't eat cold cuts, like, he wouldn't eat cooked, anything, nothing. He literally wouldn't eat anything. There was a few things that I could get him to eat at first, and then he didn't want to eat them. So we were probably like, probably like 2 days before we were going to just start doing the IVs and everything. But, you know, from everything that was suggested to us, this was the way to go about it first. Follow all of this first before we went and did that. So, you know, we were just following the orders of the specialists and the vets and everybody around us. And fortunately, you know, they guided us and they gave us good advice. So I'm glad that, you know, we could do it this way for him, and we didn't have to go to like extreme measures and, you know, put him through this every day, IVs. It just would have been such a hassle for him. So I'm glad that it never got to that point. But this is obviously a true story. He literally was very, very close to death. I mean, I was, like I said, in my heart I knew, but your mind will play tricks on you. And the way it looked, you know, to the outside world, or if I had shown him to the outside world, you would have seen. So all the people that are like, oh, he needs to lose 30 pounds before, like, he literally, like, looks like he's dying when he loses that type of weight. Like, I mean, it was terrifying to see him like that. But once he started picking his appetite up, and then he started eating his regular food again, and, you know, we were able to get his appetite back to where it was normally at, his energy came back. That's when, you know, this, like, relief kind of came off. And since then, he's had all of his post-exams. Everything's fine, because they say this disease never leaves the body. But I mean, I'm not a vet, so I'm not going to, like, give the scientific whatever's going on. But maybe their body just tolerates it differently when it's inside of them now or whatever. But he's 100% perfectly fine now. You know, cleared by all of his vets. Everything's 100% good. Appetite's normal. Drinks, runs, energies, not lethargic. Everything is back to normal 100%. Thank you, Kobe, for being noisy. And, yeah, so Hulk, again, is not dead. He is right there sleeping on the couch. His son, Kobe, is snorting into the camera right behind me. So, that was a mouthful. I really need a drink of water. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed story time. Put in the comments, you know, anything you guys want to talk about. Any, you know, like I said earlier, any, like, comments or posts or anything that you saw that you want to hear more detail about. Any dog that you want some detail. Just anything. Anything you guys want to hear a story about. Anything you guys want to talk about. Put it in the comments below. I appreciate you guys. And, yeah, pause 1 second. If I didn't say this, first of all, if your dog has this or you think something going on, take your dog to the vet right away. Don't, like, go comment or ask somebody there, but just, like, take the dog to the vet right off the bat and make sure you follow the vet's instructions. But one thing I will tell you that even one of our vets didn't know, and I can't remember if I said it in this story or not because I've been talking for like 15 minutes straight, but if I didn't, you cannot give the antibiotics to these dogs with dairy. So if you're first we're giving it to him with cheese, and then we found out that you cannot give it to him with dairy or it actually counteracts the medication. So, word to the wise, know that. You cannot cure this or give your dog medication for ehrlichiosis or actually I think it's the medication is doxycycline or something, but dairy counteracts with it. So they don't work together and you will not cure the dog from this. So I just want to put that out there for anybody that might be giving their dog this medication with dairy, and you happen to watch this video and you see that, because we learned it really early on, thankfully, because nobody really asked us like what we were giving him the medication with. So we just actually happened to bring it up when we were talking with the specialist, and that's how we found out. Thank God, because if we didn't, I don't know what would have happened from there, you know, because it's something so small that you might not think about it. It's like, yes, certain foods can counteract with different medications, so that's something that you have to actually think about. So I'd say on anytime you're going to give a dog medication, ask that. And when you ask something, let me tell you something. I know, like, I have a vet that I trust, you know, but listen, we still ask more than one person. It's just really important to just get a broad perspective, you know. Ask, like, 4 or 5 different people their opinion. Call 4 or 5 different vets and ask them, and you will see that you'll get different answers. And then you just start to piece it together and do what works best for you in your situation. Because if I wasn't able to, like, counterbalance what was going on, I don't actually know that he would have made it through it. You know, I really had to kind of use my own judgment and change around some certain things to really make it so he took to the medication and, you know, it could cure him properly. But any really good vet will tell you that nobody knows your dog better than you. So always remember that, all right? Peace, love, respect, people. I'm out.